What's up, people? Welcome to the session. Welcome to Vedantu 9th and 10th English channel. What is up with you, people? How's everyone doing? We're back with the one shot series for ICSE 10th. Today, we'll be doing household circuits, one of the most easiest chapter, but nonetheless, we'll be going through the entire chapter. It's going to be a pretty long video, so you can guess. Buckle yourself up to your seats and make sure that you take down notes and try to keep up with my pace. More importantly, guys, it's very important that you take down the notes. That is super important because that will give you an idea of what is important and what is not. And this chapter is quite an easy chapter, so there's nothing much to worry about. So welcome to the session. My name is Anoop, and let's begin without wasting any more of our valuable time. Let's begin, guys. Household circuit in one shot. The entire chapter in this 1 hour duration is what we're going to aim for. So without wasting any time, let's begin. The first thing I'm going to talk about is what are the topics that you have in this chapter. So you have main circuits with fuse, switches, earthing, 3-pin sockets and 3-pin plugs and sockets, color coding of wires and safety precautions. These are the topics that you have. But again, all these topics will be going through each of these one after the other. So let's start, right? Let's begin. Now, this is what your general household circuit looks like. So you have the live wire. Onto the live wire, you have the main fuse. Then that is connected to the electric meter, which you generally have at homes, which basically measures the the power consumed and then or the electrical energy consumed. Then you have the main switch. Then from there it goes on to the various appliances that you have. All these lights and fans and everything, all of that are connected parallel to each other. Then you have the earth wire, which is individually connected to the you have the 3-pin socket. So from there also you have these earth wires, and then one main earth wire from the electric meter as well, and then the earthing connection, which is done with the help of a copper plate, which is basically dug deep into the earth's surface. Not that deep, generally about 2 to 4 feet deep is what you see. Then you have the neutral wire as well, which basically it helps in completing the circuit. So live wire brings in the current and neutral wire takes away the current. So this is what your general circuit actually looks like. Now, so the main, see guys, at your homes, you'll have probably seen those big electric poles and all, right? So from those electric poles, you'll have one wire which is direct, that is connected to the meter. From the meter, it will then go into your house. So that wire that is connecting, that is coming from the poles, the electric poles, that is called as the mains. So that is the one which carries the current from the poles into the electric meter. From there it basically gets into your house. So from the meter it'll come through your house. So again guys, like I told you have two wires which is connected to the mains. One is the live wire, which is also known as a supply wire, and the other is called as a neutral wire. Now, between these two, the potential difference in India is 220 volts. Now this is something that you must remember. So in India, the potential difference between the live wire and the neutral wire is 220 volts. Now you have three kinds of wires in a domestic or in your household circuits. Then again, three kinds of wires. What are those? One is the live wire, neutral, and the earth wire. So live wire, as I told you guys, it is the one that basically connects it carries the current into your houses. So it's directly connected to the generators of the current supply company. So from there, again, from the mains, it will directly come into your houses. So that's what they're talking about over here. Neutral wire, on the other hand, is basically the return wire, which carries the charge away or the current away from the houses, because obviously there should be a complete circuit, right? It has to be, like if you talk about a simple, a bulb, in order for that to work, the current has to flow from the positive to negative terminal. Otherwise, it will not work. So here also the live wire does the function of conducting the current into the houses, and the neutral wire basically takes away the current away from our houses. So that's what it does. So it is the return wire which connects this appliance to the terminal of the source of the electric supply. So it basically takes it back. Then finally you have the earth wire. The earth wire is nothing but a safety. It's basically a safety wire which basically is connected to the metal case of the appliance in order to avoid any sort of electric shocks. Because sometimes guys, sometimes what could happen is that sometimes there could be a short circuit, or sometimes it could be that there's too much current passing through the conductor. In those kind of cases, if you were sometimes when you touch it, you get that electric shock. In order to avoid, because that can be life threatening for real, it can even time and again it is proved fatal as well. So in order to avoid that, for in order for a person's safety, because obviously there's nothing more greater than life, right? Life is, it's super important. Appliance, if it goes, you can always replace it, but not life, no. So for our own safety, we have these earth wires which carries all that extra charge that is in the conductor, and basically takes it away from the electric appliances into the ground. That's what it does. So yes guys, moving on people, yet another important safety device that we connect to the household circuit is what is called as a fuse. A fuse is nothing but a safety device that disconnects the circuit when there's overflow of current, when there's too much current flowing through the conductor. It basically cuts the current supply in order to protect both the appliance as well as the person who's in contact with it. So a fuse is generally connected to the live wire guys, and what is the reason for it, I'll tell you that in a minute. And yeah, it's also called as a company fuse. Again, it is always connected to the live wire. One of the reasons why it's connected to the live wire is because guys, if you connect to the neutral wire, there's still a chance that, because the appliance is still at a higher potential, because the live wire is at a higher potential, you can clearly see that there'll be current passing through it, and if you were to be in contact with it, there's a high chance that you might get electrocuted. And that is the reason why we always connect the fuse to the live wire and not the neutral wire. I'll come back to that later, but don't worry about it, right? Anyways, so this is what a general fuse looks like people. I'm pretty sure that every one of you guys would have seen this at least once in your life. So fuse is a safety device which is used to limit the current in an electric circuit. So it works on the principle of heating effect of electric current. That is, when too much heat, when current is passing through a conductor, there's heat energy produced. And in this case, when the current flows too much, then if it exceeds a certain limit, then the heat energy produced would also be more, because it's directly proportional. And hence what happens is that the wire, that is the fuse wire, gets disconnected or gets melted, and thus protecting you as well as the electrical device. So this is what your fuse wire or fuse generally looks like. So you have these are the two contacts, then you have the fuse carrier, which it's basically made up of porcelain, because porcelain is an insulator, so you don't get electrocuted because of that. And this is the base, and between this you have the fuse wire. The fuse wire, so you see this is the fuse wire which is connected from here, and it's connected over here. So there's a tiny little screw on the side as well, so that's how it's connected. So when it disconnects, when it breaks, you have to replace that fuse wire. That is one thing about the fuse. So if it gets disconnected, if it breaks, they have to keep replacing it. That is one of the major disadvantages of having a fuse, but then at the same time it also protects us as well as the electric device. So yeah, it plays a vital role that way. So the advantages obviously precedes the disadvantages over here. So the material that is used in a fuse wire has to have two main qualities. One is that it should have low melting point, at the same time it should have high conductivity as well. So it should have low melting point and high conductivity. Only those kind of materials can be used for a fuse wire. You cannot use a material which has higher melting point, because if that is the case, then it does not serve the purpose, right? So yes guys, this is what it is. So the temperature that is built up in a fuse depends on two factors. One is the current flowing through it, and the radius of the or the thickness of the wire as well, because more the thickness, the lesser would be the heat energy, because lesser would be the the resistance as well. And that is something which is very important, right? Because that resistance is what is causing the heat energy. So if the thickness is more, if it's if it's more thick, then there's more space for the electrons, the free electrons, to move around, and so the heat energy produces less. So that is something that is indirectly affecting the temperature. So if you look at the relationship, guys, it's nothing but temperature, which is nothing but T, is directly proportional to the square of the current and indirectly proportional to the cube of the radius of that wire, or that thickness of the wire. So that is something that it depends on. So thicker the fuse, the higher the current rating, because again it can more amount of charges can flow through it, and there'll be lesser heat energy produced, right? So that is why it has higher rating. So this is what a fuse works like. You see this, guys? So that is the fuse wire. You see this? And when it gets when there's too much current passing through it, there's too much amount of heat energy passing, basically too much heat energy is generated, and because of that the wire just gets disconnected, and thus protecting you as well as the electrical appliances. Voila. All right, guys. I know. I'm talking. I understand it, but what to do, people? This is the entire chapter in one shot. Now, I believe that when we did this chapter, we took about 4 sessions in order to complete this. So there was 4 hours, and right now doing the whole 4 hours in 1 hour is a big task, and it's more of a one-way conversation, and I hope you guys understand it. But more importantly, guys, take down the notes, because it's gonna definitely help you guys out, right? Because I know that a lot of you guys are too lazy to read your textbooks. Yeah, been there, done that. So I'm telling you, please do that, because that's definitely gonna help you to do better, prepare yourself better for your exams, right? Moving on, people. So this is what is another kind of fuse called as a cartridge type fuse, which is generally seen in a lot of devices. You can see this in your those extension boards. You can actually see that, and in other kinds of devices also you can see it. In TVs you can see it. In refrigerators you can see it. So this is a cartridge type fuse. It's easy to replace. So you have this wire which is connected. So these are two metallic caps, and a piece of wire is basically soldered, basically attached to both the ends, so that acts as the fuse. So again, when current is flowing through the conductor, heat energy is produced. When the current exceeds a certain limit, there's too much amount of heat energy produced, and thus basically breaking the circuit and keeping it safe. That's all. And again, here also you have various current rating depending on what type of appliance you're using. It's different. So yes, guys, now this is a very important question, so listen up carefully. The question is this: why is fuse wire connected to the live wire and not the neutral wire? So here's the thing, guys, look at this. If let's say the fuse is connected to the neutral wire, the live wire is still connected to the appliance. That means that the appliance is still at a greater potential. It still has a greater potential difference. So what happens is that, let's say that you are in touch with the appliances. If you touch the appliances, those charges could pass through your body, because our body also has a lot of ions and stuff, and basically can conduct. So what will happen is that there's a high chance that you might get electrocuted, and the whole point of having a fuse is to prevent you from, it's a safety device. It's needed to protect the device. So there's no point in connecting it to the neutral wire, because if you connect it to the neutral wire, first of all, the appliance itself might get shorted, because obviously the current is still passing through it before it reaches the fuse. So the appliance will get short circuited, and there's a high chance that you might also get electrocuted, and that is something that you don't want to have, right? And in order to prevent that from happening, the fuse is always connected to the live wire and never the neutral wire. Super important, so please keep a note on this one, right? So when fuse blows off, the current stops flowing, but the appliance still remains connected to the higher potential of the supply through the live wire. And in the case of why it is done, what is the advantage of it? When fuse blows off, the circuit becomes incomplete and no current is flowing through. So that is why it is connected to the live wire, because if the fuse gets if it gets fused, then yeah, the circuit is incomplete, right? The current does not have a path to flow. So aram say it gets disconnected, and voila, you're safe. That's why. All right. Moving on, people. Yes, to find out the current rating of a fuse. Now here's the thing, guys. Different devices have different current ratings. That is something you have to you already know that, right? Because obviously you cannot use for example, let's say that I have a TV and I have let's say a refrigerator. Now, do you think it's possible for me to use the same fuse in both of these? Same fuse with the same current rating for both of these? Obviously not. The TV might work at a lower current, or it might have a lower current rating compared to a refrigerator. So I have to understand it. And how do I calculate it? And depending on that, because we know this, guys, power is what? Power is nothing but V into I. That is nothing but voltage into current. So if you want to find out what is the current rating of a fuse, rearrange the equation. So I is equal to what? P by V, which is nothing but here. P is nothing but the power of the appliance, the total power of the appliance in the circuit, divided by the voltage supply, which in India is generally 220 volts. So yeah, the total powers of the appliance divided by the voltage supply will give you the current rating of a fuse. So depending on that, you can choose, okay, which fuse is best suited for this particular device and which one is not a good choice for it. So to give you an example, guys, so here's the thing, guys. So for example, if you have a light or a fan and all that, that is, it has low, it does not have high power, right? It's a low power device. So over there, you need a fuse which has low current rating. You don't need a high current rating fuse over that. So you might use a fuse which is of which might be of 5 amperes. But at the same time, if you have like something like an air conditioner or a geyser or a washing machine, these are pretty hefty devices. These are high power devices, and for them you need a higher current rating as well. So generally you use a fuse which has a current rating of about 15 amperes in these kind of situations. So you have to understand which of them is what you need and accordingly go with that. Right? Moving on, people. Yes. Now, one of the major disadvantages I told you about fuse is that you have to keep replacing the wire, and that is hectic. That is super hectic. Trust me, I've done it. I've even got electrocuted once. So trust me when I say it, it's super hard. It's not something it's really dangerous, right? Because the live wire is right there. It's easy to get electrocuted. So you have something called as a miniature circuit breaker, also known as MCB. Now these days, this MCBs are super common, and you can pretty much find it everywhere. Havells, yeah, Havells advertisement, yeah, that's what this is. It's an advertisement for Havells, but no, this is called as an MCB. So MCB is a simple. It works in the exact same way as a fuse works, in the same way that it basically is a safety device, but then it is a lot more safer and a lot more easier to use. So what happens is when there's high current flowing through the MCB, what happens is that the switch will automatically turn off, also known as strip. This is what is called a strip, all right? So it'll automatically trip down or it'll automatically turn off and basically disconnect the entire circuit. Now, for you to turn it back on, you just have to turn back the switch. You don't have to replace anything. You don't have to replace the wire, nothing. All you have to do is basically turn on the switch. So you can see this. So this is the input wire. You can see this. So this here is called as a connection point or the contact point. So that is where when you turn on the switch, that is where it's connected. And as soon as it trips down, you see this, the contact point gets disconnected. In other words, the current does not have a path of flow, and the whole device as well as you is safe. But again, you see this. So this is what it looks like. So when you turn it on, you can see that look at the contact point. You can see that there's a clear contact and the current starts flowing through it, and basically that's the output as well. So when it turns off, again, there's no contact between the contact point, and hence the circuit is broken. It's far more easier, far more safer to use. So the advantage is this: it's a lot more convenient. It avoids any kind of inconvenience of removing the old torn up wire and replacing it with new ones. There's no need for any of that, and it's also much more safer and much more quicker in response as well. Because fuse, obviously, it works on heating effective electric current, right? And it takes a little bit of time to get to that melting point of that fuse wire. But in this case, there's no need for any of that. It automatically turns off. So there's a lot of advantage of using that. Now, another very important question that has been asked time and again from this chapter is, why are appliances connected in parallel and why not in series? Super important. I'm pretty sure that every one of you guys know the answer for this already, because you've learned about resistors, you've learned about Ohm's law, so you know the advantages. But just for all those who wants a quick reminder, this is what are the advantages is. The first one is that because the voltage, the potential difference is constant in parallel circuit, every one of those appliances that are connected in parallel will have a 220 volt potential difference, or will have a 220 volt supply at any point of time. And secondly, they are all independent to each other. That means that even if one of them stops working, the others would not care at all. They'll move on with their life without any problems. They will still keep on working. There's no need to panic at all. So these are the two biggest advantages of using a parallel circuit. And to talk about what are the disadvantages of using a series circuit, the first one is that obviously in series the resistance is greater. So if the resistance is more, the current supply is also going to be less. So that's one thing that is the biggest disadvantage. Second is that the voltage is also divided, because obviously in series circuit the current remains constant, but the voltage is different. I think you already know about it. I'm pretty sure you know. So voltage supply, I know across each of these, what to say, appliances that are connected would be different, which is something that you do not want. And lastly, but definitely not the least, everything works simultaneously. That means that even if one of them stops working, everyone else will also follow its path, and everything will stop working altogether. So that is the biggest disadvantage. So these are the three biggest disadvantages of connecting appliances in series. Finally, people, let's solve some question as well. Here is the question. It's a very simple question, but I want you guys to try it out for yourself. Don't cheat. Don't panic. It's organic. Here's the first one. The main fuse is connected is the main fuse is connected in what? The fuse live wire, the neutral wire, both live and earth wire, both earth and neutral wire. You know the answer for this question, guys. Such an easy question. After all this time and again, the answer is definitely option number A. The fuse is always connected to the live wire, never the neutral wire. Alright. Moving on, people. Yes, switches. On off, on off, on off. That is what is a switch, right? But what exactly is a switch? A switch is a simple device that is used to turn on or turn off the circuit. That's what it does. Now you have two main types of switches. You have the single pole switch and you have the double pole switch. Single pole switch is the switches that you have in your rooms, alright? You turn on the light, you turn it off. So it's totally up to you. So you have, it's basically helping you to start and stop the current flow whenever you need it. The double pole switches, on the other hand, are something that you find in the main circuit boards, in the main switches that you have. No, in the distribution boards, you can see it. Now here also, again, it is also done to turn on and turn off the circuit itself. But the main difference between the two is that in single pole switches are connected to the live wire, not the neutral wire, only the live wire. But in double pole switches, it's connected to both live as well as neutral wire. So when you turn it off, both live and neutral are disconnected. But in the case of single pole, it's only the live wire that gets disconnected. So that is the major difference between the two. And again, the question is, another reasoning type question is, why is switch connected to the live wire? Why not to the neutral wire? Again, it's the same explanation as that of fuse. You already know about it. Because see guys, you want it at zero potential, because if you connect it to the neutral wire, it'll still have a greater potential, and the appliance would be still at a greater potential, and that is something which could cause serious problems. In order to avoid that from happening, that's why you always connect to the live wire and not the neutral wire. It's the same reason as that of the fuse, all right? Exact same reason, because you want a zero potential, because you don't want because if you connect it to the live wire, if you connect to the neutral wire, then it'll still have a higher potential, which means that if you touch the circuit, you can still get electrocuted. And yes, this is why. So the switch is kept in the neutral wire, the body of the appliance is still at an infinite potential. In other words, it has a higher potential, so if you touch it, you could get electrocuted. So yeah, people, this is one of the most important questions of all times. You've been studying this. I think, okay, the first time I heard this question, I was in third or maybe fourth grade. Like, why? What are the safety precautions of using a switch? You know the answer. Please don't use it when it's wet. It's super important, because again, water contains iron, so you could get electrocuted. That's super duper important. You have to make sure that your hands are always dry before you turn on a switch. Next question, people. Here's another one. Simple question. When the main switch of a house is put off, it disconnects what? The live wire, the neutral wire, the earth wire, live and the neutral wire. When the main switch of a house is put off, which of these gets disconnected? You know the answer. 3, 2, 1. Live and neutral wire, people. Both these, because the main switches are double pole switches, not single pole. So both neutral and live wire are disconnected in those cases. All right. Yeah, people, moving on to the next topic, which is nothing but earthing. Yet another super duper important topic. What is earthing and why is it so important? See, earthing is nothing but, again, it's for your own safety. It is done in order to prevent electric shock. So if there's too much current flowing through the conductor, you don't want it to linger around the appliance itself. You want that to, you want it to be taken away. So that is what earth wire does. Earthing is basically done in order to prevent electric shocks. Now, you have two kinds of earthings. One is a local earthing. The other is the earthing of an appliance. Now, local earthing is done to the house itself. So you have one wire which is coming from the main, main distribution board, or the main electric meter. From there you have a copper wire which is then connected to a copper plate. So you see this, it's about 2 feet away from the house, so that's about 0.61 meters, and about 8 feet below the ground, so that's about 2.4 meters. So this is what is your local earthing. So that's done to your house itself. So one end of the copper rod is connected to the meter, and the other end is connected to the thick copper which is buried underneath. So this copper plate that you see, this is the copper plate that you see. So this is how it is. This is your local earthing. Whereas your earthing of an appliance is done to individual appliances, where like for example, let's say what to say, a microwave oven. So the microwave has a metallic case, right? And metals are good conductors. So when there's too much current flowing through the conductor, there's a high chance that the appliance itself will have some current flowing around it, right? Because it's a conductor. So in order to prevent that, so if you touch that at that point of time, you might get electrocuted. In order to avoid that, you have earthing of an appliance where you have one earth wire. So you have these 3-pin sockets, especially it's for these high power rating wala appliances. In those kind of things, you have these 3-pin sockets, right? And those 3-pin sockets, the third pin, the thick pin, is for earthing itself. So it's done in order to prevent the leaking of the current, so that there's no harm done to the user, so that extra charge is taken away to the ground. So this way the user is also safe and the appliance is also kept quite safe. See this? So this is the metallic case, and this is the earth wire which is connected to the metallic case, not to the live wire, or to the neutral wire or anything. It's done to the metallic case itself, because that is the one you're in touch with, right? And it's mainly done to prevent you from getting any type of shocks. So from that, it's taken away and protects you from any kind of electric shocks. Moving on, people, the 3-pin sockets and the 3-pin plugs. You have seen this a billion different times, pretty much every single day. Not pretty much, every single day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. You see this every single day, the 3-pin sockets and the 3-pin plugs. So this is what the domestic circuits, or the color coding of a domestic circuit looks like. So you have the blue wire, which is the neutral one, the green wire, which is nothing but the earthing wire, and the brown one, which is called as the live wire. So this is your 3-pin socket, and you see this, guys, the thicker one that you see, the thicker one is the earthing pin. The one on the left is the neutral pin. The one on the right is the live wire. This is how it goes. Now, the reason why this earthing pin is thicker and longer than the neutral and the live wire is, guys, when you connect it, the first thing that gets into the socket is the earth wire. So if there is any kind of leakage, it should not cause you any problem. You should not get electrocuted. For your own safety, the scientists who made this have thought it through. That is why they have made this a little longer, so that the earth pin goes in first. If there's any extra charge or anything like that, that is taken away, so that you don't get electrocuted. So this is the reason why, guys, this earth wire or the earthing pin is much more longer and thicker than the live as well as the neutral wire. Now, if you talk about the 2-pin plugs, you have your general, chargers and all, right, which charge the mobile chargers and other kinds of chargers and all that. So they generally have these 2-pin plugs. These are low power, appliances. They don't, they're not high power appliances. So you don't need an earthing pin and all that over here. But yes, guys, again, it's so like you'll have general earthing done to the house, so you don't have to worry much about it. Moving on to the socket itself, this is what a socket looks like. I'm pretty sure that every one of you guys have seen this. So the one on the top, the bigger one, that is the earthing wire. The one on the left is the neutral. The one on the right is live. It's super important that you remember this. Left is neutral, right is live, and the one on the top is the earthing pin. So yes, guys, once again, what are the safety precautions? As always, make sure that your hands are not wet, and secondly, make sure that there's no loose connection, because you've probably seen that sometimes when it's loose, you can see the sparks coming out of it. So that's definitely not safe, and if you by mistake come in contact with it, there's a high chance that you might get electrocuted. So please don't ever do that. Make sure that it's properly fitting in. You have those adapters and all that. If it's a little loose, then get those adapters and make sure that it's tight enough, right? Moving on, guys, another simple question. What is the basic need for earthing? Is it to protect the human life as well as provide safety to the electrical appliances and electrical devices and appliances from leakage current? Is it to protect the electrical system and buildings from lightning, to serve as a written conductor in electric traction system and communications, or all of the above? The answer, you know, guys, it's option number A. For sure, it is to protect the human lives and electrical appliances. The ones that protects you from lightning, these are not earthing wire, those are the lightning rods that they have a different functions. So the answer, okay, unfortunately, they're choosing the wrong answer. It's actually option number A, not option number D. All right, moving on to the next question, guys. The diagram shows a 3-pin socket marked as 1, 2, 3. Identify which is the live wire, neutral, and the earth wire against the correct number. Simple. The one on the top is definitely the earth wire. The one on the left hand side is the neutral. The one on the right hand side is live. So what should be the right answer? One is earth, two is neutral, three is live. So option number A should be the right answer. Yep. That's all, people. And yes, if you are enjoying the session so far, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon. We're gonna come up with some amazing content for you guys. There's a lots and lots of stuff being planned out right now for you guys to make your education fun and awesome. And yes, guys, if you're enjoying the session so far, if you want to study with us and gain 100% knowledge in your exams and do better, much better in your exams, join the Vedantu Pro subscription course right now. Let me tell you what are the advantages, guys. First of all, you have unlimited number of sessions. So you're getting maximum value for money over here. You're getting the help that you need in order to succeed without any hindrance whatsoever. Unlimited live sessions, lots and lots of fun, and the highest level of quizzes. And these quizzes are designed such a way that, guys, you have an opportunity to know what are your weaknesses and your strengths, and basically compete with the rest of the world and understand how good you are in that particular topic. So it gives you a unique opportunity that helps you to be better in every single session. With this, people, every single live session is recorded, so you don't have to worry about missing out anything. And the recordings are such a way that even while watching the replay, you can check out the leaderboards and actually take the quizzes while doing the replay itself. While watching the replay itself, you can take the quizzes and check out the leaderboard. Like, how cool is that, right? So yes, it'll be talking to you. Literally, the replay will be talking to you. With all of these, guys, you also have the premium content that is completely downloadable and all the handwritten notes. So you don't have to worry about the notes as well. Everything would be given to you in the form of a PDF. Download it, use it, enjoy it. And apart from all of these, the best part is this, guys, because I know for a fact right now that you'll have a lot of doubts in your exams. You are worried about, you have a doubt in a certain topic, but getting your doubts cleared has become super hard since there's no school, there's no one to help you out. But don't worry, guys, we're here in the class. You will not just have the master teacher, but with the master teacher, you will also have the class teacher who will ensure that all of your doubts are cleared inside the class itself without any kind of prejudice, without any without any restrictions. No matter how many number of doubts you have, unlimited doubt solving right there and then inside the session itself. And yes, for all those who needs tests and assignments, why worry? Vedantu is here because we have chosen some amazing questions and assignments, which is definitely going to spark plug that brain of yours so you can start your DC motors and move forward in life, right? So we have some amazing tests and assignments as well, guys, and these tests and assignments is definitely going to give you an added advantage. Lots and lots of year and year again, we have had students who are told us that some of the questions that were there in the board exams actually appeared from these tests and assignments. So super duper efficient and super duper helpful as well for all of you guys out there, right? And with all of these, if you have time in your hand, 5,000 plus micro courses and crash courses, all for free. So you're getting the maximum value for money over here. So what are you supposed to do? Let me show you that first, right? So first of all, go to any of the videos. So this is one of the videos that I recently uploaded. So what you do, guys, click on subscribe to Vedantu Pro right now. Once you click on it, this is what you're gonna get. Are you sure you want to leave YouTube? Not really, but I don't know what's happening. Anyways, let's go back. Okay, that was really bad. So yeah, guys, let's say this is one of the videos that was uploaded very recently. Since you guys are already watching the video, you guys already know about it. So click on show more, go to subscribe to Vedantu Pro right now. Click on hurry up right now. Yes, this is what you're gonna get. Close the video first, subscribe to the channel, right? Don't forget that. Yeah, guys. So yes, so here's the thing. So if you're someone who's currently in 10th standard, so what you're going to do is click on CBSE 2021. Now, unfortunately, guys, ICSE, the bridge courses, the crash courses are already done. So if you're someone who's in CBSE right now, click on CBSE 2021. And here is, you're going to get all the details that you need, recordings, all the subjects, math, science, English, SST, everything is covered over here. So you don't have to worry or go anywhere for that. So if you go for the 1 month subscription, guys, that's 1,500 rupees. But if you click on proceed to pay, magic, see, magic, 300 rupees discount, and the price drops on 1,200 rupees for one whole month. Now if you're someone who's moving from 9th to 10th standard, so let's say that you're in ICSE 9th right now and moving to ICSE 10th, then click on ICSE 2022. So this is where the whole magic happens. You can see all the details, everything that I just told you right now. Entire grade 10 syllabus will be covered. It will be starting from 29th of March. That means it has started yesterday. Basically, okay, I'm recording the video on 30th. So yeah, you get the point. That's what I told you yesterday. So yeah, you're still not too late. All the subjects will be covered. Math, science, English, aptitude based, everything will be covered with India's best teachers. You can check out the master classes as well, just to give you an idea of what it's really like. All the doubt solving will be done in live sessions itself, chapter wise test and performance reports. All the details will be given to you over here. So these are all the teachers who will be teaching you. Yes, we have Abhishek sir, Jana sir, Harshpriyam sir, Amrit sir, lots and lots of amazing teachers is what you have in store for you guys. So these are all the results. You can check out the results as well. People who have scored 95% and above, obviously not right now, in the last year's board exams. You can check that out as well. So if you go for the 1 month program, guys, that's 3,700 rupees, which is a lot of money. We know that. But if you click on proceed to pay, guys, you get a flat 740 rupees discount, and the price is also to 2,960 rupees. How cool is that? Now, if you go for the year-long program, that is in March 2022, that's 43,740 rupees. But if you click on proceed to pay, again, you get a flat 8,748 rupees discount. That's a huge amount of money that you guys are saving over here. 8,000 rupees. So the price drops on to 34,992 rupees. Buck. I'm telling you, you guys are getting a huge value for money over here. Now, if you think about it for a second, just think about it for a second in terms of value for money. So if you go for the year-long program, if you're going from 9th to 10th standard, that's basically 2,960 rupees for 1 month. So in that 1 month duration, 8 subjects, you would have attended about 200 sessions in 1 month duration. That means that per session you're paying about 14.8 rupees. Now if you go for the year-long program, it's going to be a little less, but it's almost the same. That's about 14.58 rupees. Now if that is the case, if you can go for the 1 month duration and then decide if you want to continue that and renew the process. So that'll be the best way to go about it. So whichever way you're comfortable, you can go with that. But nonetheless, it's still going to be 2 rupees more than, okay, if you go for the 20 rupees packet, then it's 6 rupees less. But if you go for the 10 rupees packet, then it's 4 rupees more than the packet of kurkure. But yeah, you get the idea. But yes, guys, see, our aim is to make sure that every corner of the world gets quality education from quality teachers. And if that is done by ensuring that you're getting every single session for just a mere 14 rupees, then yeah, it's worth it. Because obviously everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves good education. It's your basic right. No? And we at Vedantu are just doing our best, whatever we can from our side, to ensure that that is happening. Right? So again, link is in the description. Check it out if you want to. You would love it. Trust me about that. Anyways, guys, moving on, people. Let's talk about the last couple of topics. Few more, and then we're done. I know that I'm boring you a lot, but yeah, it's important. Exams are coming. No more boredom. It's important that you guys work out. on your brains. All right, next one. Okay, color coding of wires in a cable. Now you guys already know that color coding is super duper important, not only for you but also for an electrician to understand which is the live wire, which is the neutral wire, which is the earthing wire. So the newer one is like this. You have basically yellow for earth wire, live is brown, and neutral is blue. But the older one was black was neutral, earthing was green, and live was red. So remember the old and new color, guys. It's super duper important. So the old color for live was red, the new is brown. The old color for neutral was black, the new one is blue. And if you talk about earthing wire, the old one was green, the new one is yellowish. It's slightly yellowish in color. Yes, people. Now, all this while, we've been talking about the household circuits. But have you ever noticed the wires that are there on the electric poles? Are they as thin as this one? Like this one? Like, can you use this one? Obviously not. Those kind of wires that you see are called as high tension wires. Now, these high tension wires are basically there to conduct electricity for a very long distance. Because obviously, think about it for a second, guys. The electricity that you're getting at home is coming from kilometers and kilometers away. The nearest power plant could be like maybe 500, maybe 400 kilometers away, but it's still reaching you. How is that done? That is done with the help of these high tension wires. So high tension wires have two things. One is that it has low resistance, so that way the heat loss is less, the amount of heat energy lost is less, and the amount of electrical energy lost is less, and it can also carry heavy current as well. And secondly, it has larger surface area, again ensuring that the resistance is less, and also helps in the production or the radiation of the heat, because obviously there's be heat energy produced, but to radiate the heat much more efficiently you need that larger surface area. So these are the things. So if you look at this high tension wire, guys, this is what it actually looks like. So when you cut it open, you can see these small wires that are basically that are insulated from each other. So it's a collection of these kind of wires which are twisted and basically stuffed inside and basically again insulated on the outside. So this is what your high tension wire actually looks like. So you have these individual thinner wires which are individually insulated, and there's another bigger insulation or an overall insulation done on the entire thing. So yes, people, so this is what is your high tension wires. Now once again, talking about the safety precautions, because they might ask you this is 1 mark, 2 mark questions. So what are the safety precautions? Once again, do not use it with wet hands and all that. You guys know about it. But the two main important dangers are these. One is that possible fire, and the other is electric shocks. So what do I mean by that? See, guys, an electric shock may be caused because of several reasons. One is poor insulation. If there's any cut, if the insulation is not proper, if there's any cut, or if it's open, if it's exposed and you touch it, you might get electrocuted. So that's one thing. Secondly, touching the appliance with wet hands, super duper important. You know that already. Thirdly, if there's no earthing done to the appliance, that is a very serious problem, and that could cause that can prove fatal if it's not taken care of. Fourthly, there's no fuse provided with the appliances. That is also super important, because obviously when the current exceeds a certain limit, you don't want that extra current to pass through the conductor. You don't want that to happen. And fourthly, there's no local earthing. If there's no local earthing done, then that is also a big problem, because again, all that extra charge would mean that if you touch the appliances, you might get electrocuted. So super important that earthing is done to each and every houses. Now to prevent, what are the ways to prevent it? One is to have a proper wire which is properly insulated. Secondly, never operate with wet hands. Thirdly, you should have proper metallic cases that are earthen, not otherwise. Fourthly, we should make sure that there's proper fuse provided which is connected to the live wire. And fifth, but definitely not the least, is that proper a local earthing should also be done. Next question. Do not handle electric wires with your bare hands. Wear rubber gloves, said Mr. Gupta. Which of the following statement is not true about what Mr. Gupta commented? Which of this is not true? Options: you will get electrocuted if you handle the live wires. Absolutely true. The rubber gloves is a good insulator to protect us from electric shocks. Absolutely true. The rubber gloves controls the electric current flow. Absolutely false. Electricity cannot flow through rubber. Absolutely true. So the answer to this question is actually option number C, guys, because obviously the rubber gloves does not control. It's not a resistor which controls the flow of current. It doesn't work like that. It just is an insulator, so it prevents the so insulators are those materials which does not conduct electricity at all. So it does not conduct electricity, but it does not control it in any manner. All right, guys. And that, my friends, is mic drop. Done. That's it. Electric household circuits is completely done. Now, before we end today's session, guys, one more important thing that you must be aware of is V.O.T.E. V.O.T.E. You guys already know about it. It's a revolution going on. It's trending everywhere. What is V.O.T.E. is nothing but Vedantu online talent exam. So because we know that, guys, 2020 has been a super bad year for all of us, but 2021 has to be a year of comeback where we come back stronger and bulkier. So yeah, because obviously you have to look scary, no? That's why to scare away 2021. No. So, anyways, guys, so it's not just any exam. It's an exam. It's a comeback. It's a comeback. It's not just an exam where you just give the exam and forget about it. No, it's a comeback where you have four different dates to choose from: 28th of March, 4th of April, 11th of April, 18th of April. The first one is already done. Now, do not worry, guys. So the first exam was already done. We'll be doing an in-depth analysis of physics question day after tomorrow. That is on 1st of April. I'll be coming live in front of you guys to discuss the paper or what kind of questions were asked in wood, so you can prepare yourself better for the 4th April exam, 11th and 18th April wala exam. So what is vote? What are the things that you should know about vote? It's an all India free exam which happens on all these 4 dates. All of these are Sundays basically. So you get an in-depth analysis of your performance. You get a guaranteed scholarship of from a pool of 500 crores. That's a lot of zeros right there, people. 500 crores, and you get a guaranteed scholarship with lots and lots of daily and weekly exciting prizes worth up to 1 crore. And the main winners get a chance to become the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Vedantu for one whole day, and win a trip to NASA, the United States of America as well. And these are all the exciting prizes, from Alexa to Echo Dot to Kindle, which I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys don't want. But you have
the 10th generation Kindle Oasis is a wireless reading device designed by
Alexa,
Amazon.
stop. Yeah, happens. That's probably the worst thing to put on a YouTube video. But yes, people, this is life. Let it be raw. You have drones, and then you have your Xboxes and lots of amazing prizes. How do you register? It's quite simple. So what you have to do is click on this link. Just note down the link and enter your details. You'll get a voter ID. Use that voter ID in order to choose the dates that you feel like is more convenient for you. People, 28th is already done. So you have 3 more days to choose from. Choose any of these 3 dates and rock your exams. Make sure that you take out 1.5 hours of that day. So you have both, subject-wise questions as well as your aptitude-based questions, math as well as SAT. 35 questions of each. So that's about 70 questions right there. Each question carries 4 marks. And there's negative marking as well. So make sure that you're sure about the answers that you give. Don't just tukam, or don't do inky pinky ponky or jai mata ji and all. Don't do that. So prepare yourself better, and trust me, guys. Trust me, it's gonna be worth it. It's definitely gonna be worth it. And yes, you can also create squads, like like how you play PUBG and all. I know all these PUBG players. So you can create squads just like that, 4 people in a squad, and solve the questions that are asked weekly and daily on the app as well as on the website, and win some cool and amazing prizes just like this one. Bye bye for now, people. That's all from my side. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's session. It was a lot of fun making this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Catch you guys in the next one. My name is Anoop, and this is Vedantu. Good night, people. Have a great evening.